One funny memory that I have of John is when me, Jane and Bradley were driving to Leeds, and we noticed that John was in the area because of Snap Maps. I think he was working, and so we just said to him like, "Oh, we're near each other," and he sent back like a Snapchat with a filter, like a Santa filter on, and so me, Jane and Bradley were just Snapchatting back and forth to him with all these different funny filters, and yeah, that was really funny.
So John was pretty much a second dad to us. He was always the person that we could go to if we needed anything. We could always talk to him. We could always rely on him for things. I have way too many memories to just pick one specific memory. But there is this one time when me, Katie and John were all in the car, and we basically made up a dance to Can't Hold Us by Macklemore. And every time we went in the car, that song always had to come on. And we always did this dance. And yeah, it was great.
I have a lot of good memories of Uncle John. The main one that stands out is when we went to Scotland camping. And he was using his drone, which I was really impressed by. It had a really cool camera. And he was showing me how to use it and like all the cool features. But then, yeah, that's it.
We love you, Uncle John.
I love you.
We have lots of memories of Uncle John, and one of them is we went to Alton Towers, and when we went on the Oblivion and we were hungover for like a second, he was the only one who waved on it.
Another memory is just generally all the camping trips and like going away together.
And then another one is when we were at Saltburn, he found this fossil.
John always used to take us to basketball, and we used to blast music out the speakers at full volume on the way there.
When we're at the basketball, my memory of John is that he always keeps us happy and entertained, and he's really funny.
One of my favourite memories of John is when I was in the car with him on the way to basketball. He gave me some mint gum and he smiled to himself. I wondered why, and then when I put it in my mouth I realised it was this really minty gum, and my eyes started to water because of how minty it was.
These are the things we love about Uncle John.
He always let me use the train whenever I went to his house, and he nearly went on all of the rides at Alton Towers.
I love Uncle John because he helped me buy all my fizz, especially wasps.
I love Uncle John because he bought me my first basketball and gave me true love for the game.
We love Uncle John!
One thing I remember is gone, we got Edgar Beckel camping trip. When I always used to get tired, he offered me to go on his shoulders. We will miss you forever, John.
With the amount of memories I have with John, I couldn't really pick one. But I always remembered, it doesn't matter the amount of people in one room there'd be. He'd always used to walk in like the mood would change. It could have gone from a really sad mood to a really happy mood. There'd always be smiles on people's faces, and the room would always be filled with joy. He'd always used to play football games with us, and he'd always used to beat us. So I guess we'll miss you, John.
Some of my earliest memories of John are when him and Paula used to come up to Scotland to visit my grandma and grandpa. I was a cripplingly shy wee man back then, and I would say that John being 6 foot taller than me at the time didn't help. I was still the same 5-6-year-old shy guy when they got married, and looking back at the photos and videos of that now, I'm just so happy that I was able to be part of such a special day. Over the years, John's always opened up his home for visits and stopovers, and more recently, in 2019, when we were down for a family holiday, we popped in, went for a wander around Knaresborough, lovely weather, picked up the kids from school, and went back to the manor for a barbecue. So some good memories.
One of my favourite memories with my Uncle John was going to the safari park, but it was not the safari park that I remember the most. I remember the car journey to the safari park with the singing, the laughing and the carrying on the way there.
And one of my favourite memories would have been when me and my gran went down when I was 6 years old and I had crumpets on jam for the first time. Me and Katie were watching High School Musical and running up and down this wee path next to an ice cream shop.
One of our favourite memories of John is when he used to put on quizzes and bingo for us during lockdown.
We'd both look forward to it every week, and we know a lot of people will treasure their memories.
John, you were such a big part of my life growing up. We have far too many memories, but one of my favourite memories was probably when we went on a big family holiday to France. We had such a good time and we'll miss you so much.
Hi John, thanks for getting me into basketball and everything, and always taking me. It means a lot to me, and I'm very sad to see you go, but thank you for everything.
Thank you, John, for letting me sit in your hot tub and making me a hot dog and always saying hi to me then you're there.
The memory I have of Uncle John is when he did all the barbecuing when we all went camping to the Lake District and made me my extra plain sausage butty that was probably the best sausage butty I've ever had.
The memory I have of Uncle John is when we would be over at Auntie Rochelle's for the football and his legs would be hanging off the sofa hitting everything.
The memory I have of Uncle John is when I went to go stay around at the Stewarts with Zach and Iona, and I was given like 3 bags of sweets for them to eat, for us to share out. And Uncle John heard noises from my room and came in to see me with all the sweet wrappers around me on the bed. And he said he found it absolutely hilarious, but he had to keep a straight face because he was the adult and he had to tell me off.
So not many people can say that they're lucky enough to have 2 father figures in their life. John was not only my godfather, but like having another dad. He was my emotional support. He was always there when I needed him. And he was always my IT guru. My favourite memory of John is probably when I asked him to be my godfather on his 50th birthday. I have never seen John cry, but when Katie sent me a video of him opening the letter, he was a gibbering wreck. And I will always cherish that memory because not many people get to also choose who their godfathers are. And I always knew from day one that I wanted John to be in my life forever. I love you, Uncle John. Yeah.
I'll always remember John for being supportive and kind and taking an interest in all us girls and what we're doing at uni, and always being funny when we went round to the house and asking us if we were drunk. And the answer is not yet. Cheers to John.
We have so many cherished memories from spending literally every weekend growing up and every summer at your guys' house.
Whether it was barbecues or coming around for family dinners, or that summer we lived in your bottom garden, we always felt so welcome in your family.
Of course, me and John almost drowned when we were on holiday, and you guys had to come and lifeguard dive into the sea to come and get us. And since then, every single time I have said I was in the sea, I've either had a comment, a text, a message from John saying, oh, careful, you don't drown. And I think it just goes to show how welcome and just amazing your family is, and just how we felt literally like a part of it our entire lives. And it's just memories we will just remember forever.
Free. So growing up, getting told Uncle John was visiting was always one of the best things ever. When we were really young, he liked to throw us up in there and generally cause mischief, and he was always a really fun one to be around. There was one particular time he was visiting and our dad had let the cat out of the bag. Hibs had beat Celtic that day and he said we could wind him up when we got home. John and Paula, they'd brought us a puppy that day, but in the excitement to see them instead of knowing about the dog, we went through the door and nearly crushed the puppy on the way to greet them. It was just one of those funny moments, I think, when we were younger. It was good.
Okay, in 2015 I emigrated to Canada, and I had to take a flight from London direct to Montreal, but I could not get to London because the trains in the UK were on strike at the time. And I had no idea what I was going to do. It was me, 3 suitcases, and I had to get all my stuff to London. And what happened was that John, he offered to come and pick me up from York and then drive me all the way to London himself. It's something that he just volunteered to do. It's something that I'll always remember because I was really stuck, but out of the kindness of his own heart, he did that for me, and it's something I'll always appreciate. So, yes.